All right. Hello again. It's Mr. Wright, and we are going to chat today about horizontal and vertical integration. You'll receive a worksheet in class on this, and essentially what it is it's a handout of all these pictures again for you. Um, so if you need a copy, please feel free to shoot me an email, and I can email it to you, and I can create another electronic copy and put it up on my website as well. So just let me know, okay? Because understanding horizontal and vertical integration is essential. This is something that you will definitely see on your midterm. So I would pay very close attention, okay? And we're going to give you a couple of pictures to kind of help you understand the difference between vertical and horizontal integration, all right? So here we go. So this is a classic graph that shows both vertical and horizontal integration. And as we know, vertical goes up and down, okay? It's like going up a set of stairs. It can go up and it can go down. Horizontal integration is the individual stair itself. You can go right or you can go left on the stair, but it's only that one stair, okay, that one step in a group of stairs, okay? So it's good to think of it that way, okay? So essentially, let's go through vertical integration first. And then, like I said, we'll take a look at some pictures, analyze vertical integration. Some of our later clips will talk about specific people that utilized horizontal and vertical integration. Okay? So, step one in vertical integration, okay, is as seen here. Okay? Step one. And step one of vertical integration is the production of the raw material. Okay, for example, in our graph, we're going to use oil. Okay, so oil is pumped out of the ground by the oil derrick, okay, which is seen here. Step two is the transportation of said raw material. Okay, so this is the transportation of that raw material. So crude oil moves to the refineries. So essentially we ship it, okay, this crude raw material to the refineries, which are step three. And this is processing, okay? Refineries transform crude oil into kerosene, lubricating oil, and paraffin. Okay, so these are the refineries that then make that raw material, which is crude oil, into something that can heat your home at this time, like kerosene. Step four is the finished product. Okay, it's transporting said finished product. So we're transporting the kerosene that we've created to retail stores to sell it. Okay? And that's step five. Step five is the sale to the consumer. So that's like going to your local gas station or AutoZone or Bond Auto Parts and getting that oil. Okay? That is the last step in vertical integration. So you start off with the raw material. You then transport it. You then process that raw material into a finished product. You then transport that finished product to someone that can directly sell to the consumer, like a retail store or a gas station. Now, how vertical integration works is that the person must own each of the 5 steps. So you must own step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. Okay? So can anyone think of a modern company, and we'll go over this in class as well, a modern company that utilizes vertical integration? Okay? Any thoughts on a modern company that utilizes horizontal integration? Let's see if I can do a quick vote here. Unfortunately, it won't let me. That's okay. So, a modern company that utilizes vertical integration is one that everyone in class knows. Okay? And here's that company. Okay? Walmart utilizes vertical integration. Walmart controls each step. So, for example, Walmart goes out and buys, I don't know, let's say banana fields. Okay, so the banana fields would be step one. Okay, they grow the bananas on these fields. They then have to transport the bananas. Okay, and Walmart owns that transportation system. They then have to refine the bananas. And you might be thinking to yourself, Mr. Roddy, how do you refine a banana? That's cleaning it. That's checking it for any pesticides. That's putting, the nice little Walmart logo on the banana, similar to how, Chiquita does. That's essentially processing it. It's determining which bananas are good for sale and which should be tossed. Okay? Then, once they have that final and finished product that's now packaged in boxes, they transport it again. And those are the Walmart tractor-trailer trucks and train lines that you guys often see crisscrossing our state. Okay? Essentially, if you were to purchase a banana at Walmart, what happens is a report is sent back to their warehouse saying that the Walmart in Claremont just sold one banana. And at the end of their fiscal week, which is usually Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, they'll make a delivery one of those 3 days to the Claremont Walmart with the total number of bananas that were sold, usually plus 5 or 10. So if 15 bananas were sold at the Claremont Walmart between Monday and Friday of a fiscal week, of a regular week, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, there will be a truck heading to that Walmart with 15 bananas plus either 5 or 10 extra. And you might be thinking to yourself, again, why send the 5 or 10 extra? Well, they do that so that they don't run out of said bananas. So they're sending more just in case, okay? And when they send it to that Claremont Walmart, that's this 5th step, because you're going to buy the banana itself at that Walmart, okay? Let's use Walmart again, okay? This time let's think of, a regular shirt, okay? Shirts are, again, produced of raw material, let's say cotton. So they own the cotton fields. And then, the cotton itself is transported. So the raw material of the cotton is transported. It's then refined. It's made into a cotton-based white shirt. Okay, let's say, size large. And then that large shirt is shipped, that finished product is shipped again to our Claremont Walmart. Well, again, similarly so, if Walmart sells 5 large white t-shirts in a fiscal week, a report is sent for each day that the shirts are sold down to their warehouse in Raymond, New Hampshire. And essentially what happens is they pull, again, 5 large white t-shirts, but then they also pull, again, 5 to 10 extra white large t-shirts. Why? Again, same reason. They don't want to run out of size large white t-shirts. So they'd rather have extra on their shelves just in case. This is especially true for this time of year. As we approach the holiday season, retailers like to have extra on hand, especially of clothing in specific sizes. So, as I said, if they sell 5 white large cotton t-shirts in a fiscal week, Monday through Friday, then you'll be expecting 10 to 15 white cotton large t-shirts to arrive at the Claremont Walmart Friday, Saturday, or Sunday of that week. Okay, so again, Walmart owns each step. That is vertical integration. They must own each step. Now, what if one of those steps goes awry? So let's say step 4 here, that the truck drivers go on strike. Well, that means that all of your other steps, 1 through 3 and 5, come to a screeching halt. So vertical integration is good because you control each of the 5 steps. Therefore, you don't have to bargain with anyone else to have your goods made. You control every single step of the process. Therefore, you get to determine how much your item costs. You get to determine how much to pay your workers. But it's bad in the sense that if one of the steps stops, i.e., your truck drivers go on strike, then you are stuck, okay? Because you essentially have to figure out a way to get that step, and in our scenario here, step 4, back on track so that all of your other steps can now move in a continuous line, okay? So that's vertical integration. And again, like I said, we'll have other pictures to show vertical integration and explain it. But please, 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 feel free, ask questions, look at the handout I give you in class, because this is a very important situation and scenario that you want to understand. How does vertical integration work? Okay? So I'll delete this real quick. And I'm going to erase our 5 steps here because next we're going to talk about horizontal integration. Now, horizontal integration is controlling only one of those steps. So let's take a look at step 4 here again, transportation of our finished product. Okay? You just own one step, or you control one step. Or, again, you may even control multiple steps, but you don't control them all. So vertical integration says you must control each of these 5 steps. Horizontal integration says that you can control one step, and you can control many of the one steps, but you do not control them all. Okay? So we're going to take a look at horizontal integration in step 4 here. So we're going to talk about Home Depot. Okay? Many of you have been to Home Depot with mom and dad, grandparents, on your own, whatever, to do some sort of household project. Okay? So when you go to Home Depot, for instance, they own and contract out with a company called Cardinal Logistics. And Cardinal Logistics is responsible for transporting all of Home Depot's finished goods. Okay? Home Depot has a sole contract with Cardinal Logistics. Therefore, all Home Depot products must be transported, all those finished products, whether it be lumber, appliances, paint, it doesn't matter. It all comes on a Cardinal Logistics truck. Okay, and Home Depot bought out Cardinal Logistics about 3 years ago. And so now they control that one step. They control step 4, okay, for horizontal integration, because they own the transportation company that transports their finished goods. And as Home Depot grows, okay, Home Depot also now controls step 5. they own or lease the buildings in which they sell their items to their customers. Therefore, they control step 5. Okay? Home Depot is, again, trying to become more vertically integrated like Walmart, and has started to, but does not control, that's key, has started to buy out individual lumber yards. So let's say, each oil derrick here, for example, is a lumber yard. Home Depot, due to this recession that we've had, has started to buy out individual lumber derricks. I'm sorry, lumber yards, not lumber derricks. Lumber yards. And due to the recession, Home Depot can come in and say, we will purchase your lumber yard for a low fee. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take the wood, take a tree, and we're going to make plywood out of it, let's say, or 2x4s, or whatever. And so they've started to buy up some of these lumber yards to produce their raw material. Take a tree, make it into plywood. Take a tree, make it into 2x4s. But, as we can clearly see here, I only highlighted 3 sections, so they don't control all the lumber yards, but they're starting to move in on specific lumber yards that are failing due to the recession. The same thing is true for Home Depot for their processing. So Home Depot is not only owning the lumber yards, okay, but they're owning, again, places that can make, for example, particle board, okay, places that can refine the product, places that can make, compressed cardboard. So things like your kitchen countertops, for example, can be made out of compressed wood and cardboard, believe it or not. If you look under your cabinet, if you run your hand underneath your countertop, rather, you can usually tell what it's made out of. Okay, so Home Depot has started to take over these plants. Again, not all the plants, but started to, because they're trying to control more steps, okay, in their process. So they're trying to control more steps, but we know that they control this one step for sure. Okay, Home Depot, and I'll put our little ticket down here real quick underneath horizontal integration. Home Depot, okay, has really started to refine steps in horizontal integration. Okay, so let's take a look at some other pictures so that we can kind of go through this again. All right, here we go. So I'm going to erase these real quick here. Make sure this is all erased. Highlight this real quick. Delete that, and let's move on to the next slide. All right, so again, same thing, vertical and horizontal integration. We'll talk about vertical integration here first. So a good way to think of it, you have cattle, okay? From the cattle, okay, which is your raw material, okay? And this is a great time to look at that graph that we were just at, so that handout that you have in class. So the raw material is the cattle, okay? You need to get your cattle to the slaughterhouse. So you use a refrigerated railroad car, and that's transporting, okay, your raw material, okay? We cut up the cow, we slaughter the cow, it's cut, okay? We now need to get it where it needs to go. So we're using that refrigerated railroad car to get it where it needs to go. Then the refrigerated railroad car is going to deliver the slaughtered meat to a cooled warehouse, okay? And our cooled warehouse can be one step of processing, okay? Where to store all that meat, right? Okay. Then another part of our processing can be getting it to a meat packing plant. So actually packaging it, whether it be packaging, the sectioned off parts of the cow, like your steak tips, like your ribs, your shoulders, all that type of stuff. So it's actually packed and separated out for sale. Now, the next step is the transportation of our finished good, right? So we're transporting our finished good to our last step, which is selling it to the consumer, okay? So this company has control at all levels of production, from the raw material to transporting the raw material to processing the raw material to a finished product, which is transported to a retail store to sell. Okay, and that's vertical integration. Horizontal integration, again, purchase of competing companies within the same industry. Okay, so you purchase individual oil companies, okay, to create one overarching oil company. So you buy out these independent oil companies, oil refineries rather, to create one large overarching oil company. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. So again, this shows vertical integration here, horizontal integration here. All right, so like we chatted about, specific people who used these different methods. All right, so Carnegie practices vertical integration. He owns all phases of production for his company. Okay, so he owns, again, for example, coke fields, which then create iron ore deposits. So he owns the mine, essentially, where the iron ore is found. Okay, so the mine itself is the production of the raw material. Okay, the iron ore is the raw material that's found. Okay, so he owns the mine, then he owns the product that was mined there. Okay, then he transports that raw material, processes that raw material into a finished material, which would be his steel mills. Okay, the steel mills process that raw material, iron ore, into a finished material, which is steel. He then owns the ships, okay, which are the transporting of his finished good. And he ships the steel to whomever needs to purchase it. Okay, so this is, again, another example of how Andrew Carnegie practices vertical integration, owning each phase of production. Okay, and that's good to know. All right, so vertical integration. You have to have or own controlling interest in, again, like we keep saying, and these should definitely go into our notes. Okay, these parts here, you want to understand that, again, vertical integration, okay, this should be the term in our notes. And under vertical integration, you control these 4 steps. And these 4 steps are the production of raw material, transportation to the factory itself, and the distribution network of the product. And therefore, you have a monopoly of that product within your given industry. Okay, you control each step of that product. Okay, so I'll leave this slide up here for another couple seconds for you guys to get this down. All right. Give you guys a couple more seconds. And here we go. All right, on to the next slide. Gospel of Wealth. All right. I might actually skip this slide. This talks about Andrew Carnegie, and we'll come back to him, obviously, in just a second. But let's focus on horizontal and vertical integration for now. So I'll skip that slide. I'll come back to it, I promise, for you folks as well. Okay, horizontal integration. Well, who's good to know for horizontal integration? John D. Rockefeller. Controlled just the refinement of oil. Okay, and horizontal integration is when a company owns and controls one portion of the integration. So again, they buy out those competing firms to create one overarching massive company. So that octopus that said Standard Oil on it, that was gobbling up the different oil derricks and refineries, and like we've seen in the clip already, talks about how Rockefeller would go in, purchase a refinery, and keep it if he thought it was necessary, but he had no problem whatsoever shutting it down and gutting it. Okay? So horizontal integration, again, is when a company owns and controls one portion of the integration steps. Okay, so that was our Home Depot Cardinal Logistics example of Home Depot wanting to control that step of transporting a finished product. So what does Home Depot do? They buy out Cardinal Logistics. Instead of continuing to deal with them and deal with many transportation companies, they buy out Cardinal Logistics. So that way they control that one portion of the integration. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. All right, so here is our example for Rockefeller. So again, Rockefeller owns Standard Oil, as seen here. And what he starts to do is he buys up these independent oil refineries, like we saw in the clip in class. He buys them up, and the ones that he wants to keep, he keeps, and the ones that he doesn't want to keep, he shuts them down. Okay? All right, well, we will leave off here, and the next video we'll start with the Gospel of Wealth, okay, which is here for us, chatting about Andrew Carnegie and his belief on the Gospel of Wealth, and then we're going to section into the robber barons, so that Gospel of Wealth belief into the robber barons. So this is where we'll leave off for today. Again, if you have any questions on horizontal or vertical integration, which is, again, this picture here, please, 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 please see me in class, shoot me an email, double check over your handout that you will receive in class, most likely Tuesday, the 19th. You'll probably get this in class. But please, if you don't get this, you have to stop me, okay? I can guarantee you'll be assessed on this, and I am 90% sure you'll see this on your midterm exam, okay? This is a huge component, and this is something that you'll elaborate on next year in economics, all right? Well, this is Mr. Wright, and I'm signing out for the night, so I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.